Hi, this is Mr. Retz, and today we're doing a Khan Academy tutorial on round decimals. So we're going to get into this, and I'm going to give a brief explanation, and then some of these problems you're going to see are actually fairly simple once you understand the algorithm for it. So round 2,236 and 8/10 to the nearest 10. So the first thing we need to understand is place value. Let me pull this up. So I wrote a new number, 6,543 and 21 hundredths. And I just wanted to point out the different place values here. So you see that we start with thousands, okay, and I could have gone more that way into 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, etc. But the next number is hundreds, tens, ones, and that's known as the whole number. So if it says round to the nearest whole number, it's talking about the ones place. And then after the decimal, so there's the decimal. After the decimal, you have tenths, and I emphasize the TH, and hundredths, and then thousands, and so forth. And that's going to keep going up in that direction. The TH at the end signifies that it's after the decimal. So that's very important to know that if it has that TH or not. In this case, in our example, notice how it says 10 and not tenths. There's a big difference there. Okay, so understanding place value and what it's asking to round is the first step. The second part is actually doing the rounding. So here it's asking for the nearest 10. So we need to understand where that tens place is. It's right there. It's the 3. So the 3 is that tens place. Now, when we're rounding to the tens place, we're not actually looking at that place. We're looking at the number to the right. So that number to the right is going to tell us how we round. So if it's a 5 or above, we give it a shove. We're going to round that number up. The tens place we're going to round up. Or if it's 4 and below, we're going to round down. I like to call it round off because you kind of can keep that number the same. Now, to understand this, I'm going to create a visual here. So I'm only going to use the number 36, not that whole 2,000 number, just so you understand what we're trying to accomplish. So the number 36 is between the numbers 30 and 40. And so if we counted 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if we were to place it on here, 36 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right here. And obviously this is not perfect. This is just a visual. Now, here's 36. When we're saying round to the nearest 10, we want to know, is it closer to the 30 or is it closer to the 40? That's our goal. That's what we're trying to understand. And so there's a pattern here. Anytime it's past this halfway mark, at or past, and that's the 5, right? Any number ending with that 5, in this case it's 35, we're going to round up to 40 because it's closer to that 40. And anytime it's below that number, okay, that means it's closer to the number below it. So in this case, it's 30. Now, 36 is clearly closer to the 40, so we're going to round that tens place up to that 4. So instead of saying 36, we're going to call that 40. Now, obviously, we need to write the numbers around it. So this is the number 2,240. I don't write anything else after that decimal. Okay, so if I'm rounding to the tens place, I'm going to fill zeros until I get to that decimal. And then I'm not writing anything after the decimal. That's going to be blank. Okay, so my answer is going to be 2,240. I'm going to write that down. 2,240. Oops. Okay, let's check it. Okay, next question. So this one's asking for the thousands. So again, I first need to understand where the thousands place is. It's right here. There's the 1,000, but I don't care about that number. I care about that 7. And again, what we're trying to understand here is if we have a number line, here's 5,000, here's 4,000. Where's 4,708? 4,708 is like right here. And I don't really care about all this stuff. I only care about that next number. So really I could just call this 4,700. But I mean, you could include it if you wanted to. 4,700, clearly closer to 5,000. So what I'm going to do is, if I see that as a 7, that's 5 and above, that means I'm going to give this number a shove. That thousands place, I'm going to give that a shove. I'm going to round that up. I'm going to move that to be a 5. Don't just write it 5, because obviously 4,700 isn't like rounded to 5 to the nearest 1,000. I need to fill in zeros until I get to that decimal point, and then I don't include any decimals after that. So 5,000 is my answer. That's the nearest 1,000. I check my answer, and we're good. Here we go, hundredths. This is what I'm hoping to see. So first we got to understand where's the hundredth. Hundredth. Notice that TH. That means after the decimal. Right there. The tenths is the first one. Hundredths is the next one. Thousands, etc. Now, this one's a little bit trickier, right? So if we were to have something between 0 and 1, okay, we could even break this down further because we're dealing in this like tenths range. So let's say if we're rounding to the nearest hundredth, our hundredths are, let me write this down, 0.69, and the next one up is 0.70. Where does 0.698 fall? Well, 0.698 is definitely closer to 0.7 than to 0.69. Okay? This is a little tricky when you're dealing with decimals. A way to think of it is if you're dealing with these decimals, you could include that extra 0 in there. 0.700 and then 0.698. That's an easier way to think of it. So it's like, okay, think of 698. Is it closer to 700 or is it closer to 690? Definitely closer to the 700, right? So another way to think about it, that's one way to think about it visually, is just consider our rules. So our hundredths place is that 9. The next number is an 8. 8 is bigger than 5, so we're going to round that number up. Now, 9, it's like, okay, how do I round 9 up? Well, the next number up is 10. So basically, I have to add that 1 to the next number. Okay, if we're going from 69, we need to move up 1 to 70. Okay, so that's how it works. If you get to a 9, you got to go to the next number up, even for the tenths place, the next number over. So this is going to be 0.7, and if you want, you could put 0, but you don't have to. Okay, but since it's saying round to the nearest hundredth, you should include the hundredths place. Okay, there we go. Good, got it. This one's saying 100. Okay, so 100, our hundreds place is right there. We only care about the next number to the right. The next number is a 6. That means we need to round it up. So it's a 9. So think of this as 839. We need to round it up to the next one. 40. So 39 goes to 40. Okay, that 9 can't go like to a 10, right? Because that's 2 digits. So we just make it a 0 and give that next plus 1 to that 4. That's a way to think of it. So I'm going to write 4. I make that 0, and then I'm put zeros until the decimal. So 84,000 is my answer. 84123. Oops, what happened to my 4? 2, 3. Okay. Nearest 100. Let's check it. Okay, next question. Nearest 1. So that's the nearest whole. It could say the nearest whole number. Okay, so again, we're going to look at the ones place and then the number to the right. This happens to be the tens place. Now, finally, we have an example where we're going to round down. That 4 is not big enough to move it up. And here's why. So here's 644. Here's 645. 644.4 is like right here. Okay? It's not closer to the 645. It's closer to 644. So what we're going to do is it's not like we're rounding down to 643. That's a common mistake. What we're just going to do is we're going to keep that 4 the same. That's what rounding down means, or rounding off. And we're going to get rid of everything after it. Okay? So that's what... Instead of rounding down, maybe think of round off. So that means we're going to round off all the other stuff. So 644 is our answer. And again, always go back to that number line if you're having trouble understanding what this like rounding is. Okay, tenths. Tenths place is right after the decimal. We're going to consider the number to the right. Man, they like this rounding up. So it's a 6. That means we're going to round up. And since we're rounding up, that 9, 1.9, is going to go up. There's no place for that 9 to go, so we need to change this number next, make that a 0. It's going to be 2.0. Okay, again, there's no place for that 9 to go, So we have to change the next number to the right. 2.0 is our answer. 2.0. There we go. Hopefully it's a rounding down for the next one. And it's not. So tens place. Tens place is that 7. The 5 is the next one over. That 5 is big enough to move it up. Okay, so we're going to just move that up to an 8. Zeros into the decimal, and then nothing else after that. 80 is our answer. And we're done. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it was helpful for you. If you have any questions, make sure to leave a comment below, and I look forward to seeing you next time right here on Wes Explains Best.